Good night. Good night, good night, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome you to this another show, another episode of the Saudichress show. I must say tonight will be very, very interesting. Hopefully, we will have a very productive show, one that will take us through, you know, a sort of discussion that we all been waiting for. And so tonight our guest will be, as you know, unexpected, the big man this year in sports administration in Jamaica. I'm not sure that there will be any other sports administrator who will be getting the accolades or having the accolades of this man, knowing what sports or what a particular sports have just concluded or almost concluded, so to speak. So let me welcome you all. And for those who are joining us for the very first time, welcome to this The Saudichress Show. And I hope you enjoy and continue to stay with us. Again, if you have not yet done so, please subscribe and also leave a like. Share the Saudichress channel with your friends, knowing that Saudichress is all about sports, entertainment, and of course, education. So, people, help me to welcome the big man, Mr. Keith Wellington. I almost say Professor. So, we have with us Mr. Keith Wellington, the president of ISSA. To be honest, people, this man have so much accolades behind his name, and I don't want to make an error, and I don't want to leave off anything. It's a tall order, but I know he can sum it us for us. So, Mr. Wellington, good night, sir. Welcome to the Saudichress Show. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, in a nutshell, could you just give us a brief profile of who Keith Wellington is? Okay. Good. True. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, well, of course. I mean, you see what I'm talking about, people? I could never, trust me now, I've known a little, and I say, based on what you have said, just a little. I don't even know that you were a coach or still a coach of cricket. So you're telling me all of these boys or students that you have at States that would have known you coaching? Okay, okay. Sir, are you talking about coaching though? You see the phone start ringing already now. I can't believe this. Hold on a second, Sir Wellington. Just let me hear what this man have to say. Mr. Lee, good night, good night. You're live on the Saudichress show.
Good night, Saudi.
Yes, man. Bless up yourself.
Yeah, man. Good night, Mr. Wellington. Hey, Saudi,
Yes,
Saudi.
yes, Lee.
What? Saudi, we not get no audio from Mr. Wellington in the chat, you know. Yeah.
It's true? Wow. Mr. Wellington, them said they're
Hear
not
me?
hearing you in the chat.
Yeah, we not start. So you have to go fix the audio so we can get some audio, and then unfortunately, I'm going to start back over because people laugh at me and laugh, so I get some good joke there. I want to share everything with Mr. Wellington. I share tonight. I want to hear everything. So
All
if we
right.
can fix the audio, I could get some audio from our inside here.
All right. Let me try something. I don't know
And
why.
yeah, man. And watch your chat. Watch your chat, and we give you a thumbs up when you're ready. So Mr. Wellington can start for over. I could enjoy the show to hear.
Okay.
All right, my boss. Yeah.
All right. Hold on. But yes, sir. Just say something. Don't hang up yet, Lee. Don't hang up yet. Let me try this out. All right. Tell me, Lee, how it sound now? Oh boy, I tell you. All right. Let me get another system for the to make I monitor the chat. Lee, any difference, Lee? Right. All right. But I'm hearing you and everything is going through. All right. Let me check something else. Yes, man. Just no. Let me try something. Audio here. Audio output destination here. Oh, all right. So let me see if we can. If we get rid of the headset, then but that's the problem. You hearing me, Sir Wellington?
I am still hearing you.
All right. So me get rid of the headset.
Well, you probably can check to see if I hear.
Yeah, let me call him now.
What is happening though is that I'm hearing, and so I'm hearing about myself.
Yeah, okay, all right. That means something that I was trying. Still echoing?
No,
Not
not
echoing.
echoing.
Okay.
You are still hearing me, right?
Yeah, man, I'm still hearing you too. All right, hold on a second, sir. I don't know why them not hearing you. Boy, me can't
I'm sure
believe.
it's not, and it's not him alone not hearing.
Well, based on what he's saying, this is not hearing in the chat, so let me see if me can get it up. Audio device. Everything is okay on my side, you know. Let me hear what him say again. Oh boy. No, sir. Can't go through another night of this.
Sorry.
Oh, it is now.
Yeah, man, we're good now. We're good now. Good to
Yeah.
go now.
Okay, good to go now, sir.
Yeah, man. Thanks. We're good.
All
Can
right.
start up the thing now.
All right. All right, Sir Wellington. So we're good to
All
go.
right, good. I'm sure, yeah.
All right, sir. So let me not push you back. Just a shorter intro. Just start the things already because you must say, boy, me I laugh. That means me I enjoy myself. So
So I was just explaining, well, you had asked me to say a few words about myself to
right.
the persons who only know me as the principal of states
And ISSA
and
president.
president of ISSA would know a little bit more. So I was explaining that I'm actually a trained mathematics and computer science teacher.
Yes. Continue, sir.
I'm a sports enthusiast all the way. I can remember myself, I've always been interested in sports, love sport. I remember primary school student walking 5 miles to go to the Lancaster Cup games at Monroe. Because Monroe was the nearest high school to us. And so I would hide from school lunchtime on a Wednesday and walk to games at Monroe. Same thing on a Saturday. And I'm a Monroe old boy as well, so I went to Monroe. Tried to be involved in everything at Monroe in terms of sports. Wasn't very good at most, but I was involved. I think I probably I was saying to somebody the other day that my legacy at Monroe is that the Monroe, which is our annual school magazine, I think about 3 articles in it that I wrote on sports. I think I did the Lancaster Cup report,
yes,
and the head report, and then there was another feature article that I wrote because I was a part of those teams, although not being able to make the team. I actually played cricket for Monroe, and I'm a certified West Indies cricket board junior level coach. So I've coached cricket. I've coached cricket, and I've been involved in track and field and football as well. So basically, that's it. I was pointing out as well that I have been awarded a Governor General Award for Leadership, Prime Minister's Award for Education. I've gotten a few other awards, JTA for sports, and so on. So basically, that's where I am. But as I said at the outset, really and truly, the job that I am most proud of and which I try to do my best at is as a father and as a husband. I think everything else I do, I really try and use them to make me a better father and a better husband. So that's me.
Sir Wellington, I can tell you, that last start that you make, that you're a better father and a better husband. I must tell you, most of our viewers are males. Notwithstanding, we still have some females, but I can imagine that must have been a very good talk and a motivational speech for them too, including myself. Not a problem, right? Because soon, you will hear them come at me very soon saying these things, but it's the reality. And so with that, so you are so involved in your school and your sports, ISSA per se. Tell me, sir, honestly, how do you able to keep yourself away from the ins of the especially the football team? The fact that
Well, I don't pretend as if I keep myself away from it.
is that so?
So to be honest, I don't keep myself away from it. Everything that once I'm involved in something, it may take me a while. Normally for me, I try and learn as much as possible about anything I'm going to be involved in before I get too immersed in it. So if it is that so for example, when I came to States, the persons at States, Mr. Olivier and Kanai Seen, Mr. Downswell, Eddie Smith, they knew me before as somebody who was involved in sports and involved in coaching, and every day they came to me asking me to help them with especially cricket and track and field. But I didn't get involved right away because I like to understand the environment and the ins and outs of what I'm getting involved in. But once I get involved, I try and be involved. I immerse myself in terms of by trying to make sure that whatever needs to be done, even if I have to do it myself, I'm going to be. I'm not somebody who will stand aside and look at something happening and just watch it happening if I can do something to help. So I remember when I was interviewed for the job of principal at States, one of the questions that was asked of me was, if you are given the job of principal, bearing in mind how involved you already are with our sports and so on, how will you be able to manage the job of principal, while what will you do with your involvement in these other activities? And I told them that I will manage. I'll find a way to manage because I think for me, one of my greatest assets as a leader is my ability to manage time.
Right.
I don't shirk work, and I try and ensure that I manage my time properly. And again, I go back to the family. I have a very understanding wife, and a son who loves sports. So a lot of times we can spend time together while I'm working, and that helps.
You have said it, sir, but this one point I still want to hear. The principal of States, the president of ISSA. States, I'm sure you have invested a lot in States football team or program. Because you love it. I know you love it bad. And you're passionate. States have not given you, what would I say, any silverware probably over the past 2 years. I mean, you probably lost some games. How you keep away? I mean, you have been as the principal and as the ISSA president, and you're watching your team not doing so well. How you hide those emotions?
All right. So I'm going to answer that question, but I want to give you a joke. I remember I became principal in 2008, right?
Yes.
2009, I'm going to give you two joke, right? Well, I don't know if it's a joke, but to just to highlight how difficult it is. I remember we had a game against Monroe. Monroe is my old school.
Yes.
Monroe went 2-0 up. Coach Harrison was coaching Monroe at the time. That's Harrison was at
Neil.
ISSA,
Yes.
Yeah, Neil, right? Monroe went 2-0 up, and we had about 10 minutes left in the game. So I remember I'm the principal, we're down 2-0, 10 minutes left. Deshaun Brown scored 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes to equalize 2-2.
Yes.
And I remember me, the principal, running on the field and sliding with the
In celebration.
sliding with Deshaun. Yes, in celebration. I remember 2009 as well, when we won the Augusta Cup at Jared Park.
Yes.
Principal jump over the fence, So the emotion
No, Mr. Principal.
yeah, but I guess the level of maturity over time.
Yes.
So, between 2009 and 2015, would have won 6 Ben Francis and 3 Augusta Cup. So I think I've been able to manage my emotions a little bit.
You get used to winning.
And I think in terms of sports management and leadership too, I think I have an appreciation for the fact that it's not always your time.
Yes.
There are times when your team is going to struggle over an extended period of time and things change, and so I get a lot of not necessarily abuse, but the fans they are upset.
Yes.
Winning, and you have people who figure that why this needs to be done, the sports need to be fired, and all of these things. And I have to be the level-headed one who says that, listen, this is a process. You can't win them all, and at the end of the day, this is cyclical. There's going to be a time when you're going to have a dominant period, and there's going to be a time when you're struggling. And if you look at sports, not just football, whichever sport, and you look around the world, globally or locally, there are times when teams are dominant for a period and then they go off the boil. They don't win anything for a while. What for me at States, the important thing for me is that we have structure in place so that there's something in place to suggest that we are working and our time will come back around, and it is not luck that cause you to win, and therefore if the luck gone, you're not going to win again. So for me, I'm okay. I'm okay with where we are. and we continue to invest in the development of the youngsters. For us, winning is not just getting the trophy, but also producing talent, allowing the youngsters with their talent to be exposed and to maximize those talent and getting other opportunities. Because I think, for example, that one of the biggest opportunity that schoolboys have in playing sport is the opportunity to further their education free
True.
of cost. And so I think for every sport that our students play, the ultimate goal is not just becoming a professional, but also getting an opportunity to pay for their education. So even for my own son, I keep mentioning my family and my son. I think for me and my son is involved in sports, and I would love if at some point in time I see the opportunity where I can save $30,000 per year for school fees because he has played sport and gotten a scholarship. So our focus is more so on that rather than just winning titles.
And you mention your son and your family. It's very important that we embrace our families. And I learned, yes, this year when I realized that there's a Keith Wellington playing for States. There's one thing came to me and I said, boy, this principal have to continue him training him and he can't leave out the football alone. But I've also seen you with a photograph. I think it's on your DP. Um, how tall is Junior Keith?
Malik, he's what, five? I think he's 5'8" or 5'9" now.
Boy, I look like 6 enough, man. Very
And he's
tall.
12 years old. He's 12 years old.
That's what I realize.
He's 12 years old.
Very good, very good. So yes, sir. So a lot of personal things as it relates to you there going aspect. So Mr. Wellington, fan of sport, no strange reasons as a decent, very good administrator, as a principal, and you have moved to the helm of ISSA president. Oh, in a nutshell again, how is that journey? Transform, you have left now, you have taken up the entire country's high school business on your shoulders now. How has that journey been?
As you can imagine, well, I was involved in ISSA prior to becoming president
Yes.
in 2019. But if you want to just focus on my tenure for a while, I took over in June 2019. That's what, 3 years? This completing my
3
fourth year now. If you look at what has happened generally over those 4 years, I think the very first year football, we had probably one of the worst weather. We played in
Yes.
with lightning strikes, games have been abandoned.
True.
I think we had to move games from 3 o'clock to 1 o'clock just to get them completed before torrential rains and lightning. So that was our first biggest challenge, and that was 2019. And then before the year came to an end, in March 2020, there came COVID, and that in itself is something that nobody in this
That's
world
true.
would have experienced before. And so we had to deal with how is it that we manage the process of providing opportunities for our young people during a time when everybody is saying that you can't mix, you can't have crowd, you can't gather. And so for the most part of my tenure, I have had to, along with the team, focus on providing an opportunity under difficult circumstances. It has looked well. Thankfully, we are at the point where we are seeing some light in the tunnel in terms of moving away from COVID. Although we hear that things are
And the rise again, eh? I
right,
tell you.
and that has it has had serious implications for what we do at ISSA, because it means that we would have had, for example, when we had football last year, we had to do it without the support of spectators, support in terms of emotional support at the games for the teams, but also critically financial support. So we would have had to operate at ISSA, providing the opportunities without our regular stream of income. And so that in itself, I think we have done exceptionally well, and I have to congratulate and commend, first of all, the general school population, all the schools involved who have committed to making the opportunities available for their students. Not every school has been able to get back to normal, but there are a number of schools who have, at every opportunity, made the sacrifice in terms of preparing their students to be involved, doing the necessary things in terms, and it is expensive, so
Yes, it is.
I don't want anybody to take it lightly, but our schools to be involved in these activities cost, and the government does not allocate $1 for students to be involved in sports. I think Minister Reid at some point in time suggested that the same money that we got, we could take some money from it to help with sports.
Was it
Because
5
at one
or
point in time, up to a couple of years ago, we were told that you can't use the money that you get from government for tuition
Right.
or whatever to do anything with sports and so on. Right, so it's not that we got extra money, but at least we got permission to use some of that money with sports. So you have to commend the general school population,
True.
all 170 principals at ISSA. And then have to commend the ISSA executive itself, that is those principals who were elected to
serve.
as people. We have to commend them for their commitment over the time. They have made a lot of sacrifices in terms of ensuring that we are able to work together and provide the opportunities. All the discussions we have had to have with sponsors, the commitment to them, the discussions with government agencies, and trying to convince them that we can make this work. The national association that we had to collaborate with. I think it has been really, really good, and I think what I'm particularly pleased and proud of ISSA during this time, because it's always easy to manage, when things are going well. But if you want to know how well you are doing,
make something go bad.
Face challenges and see how you are able to overcome. Because at the end of the day, many of the persons who are critical of you, they are not concerned about what challenges you are facing.
That's true.
They are most concerned about whether or not you are getting the job done.
True,
right?
true.
Yes, maybe after it is done, they will look back and say, boy, we did hard for them, but they want the job done. You understand? So I really, really want to commend everybody involved and the supporters too, because I think at the end of the day, if you look at what happened during COVID, the fact that they didn't, when we asked that they not turn up,
right,
because of the situation, they stayed away for the most part. They still had people trying to get it, but for the most part, they stayed away and supported from afar. And then now that we are back, they are coming back out to support. And it's not just that they are supporting their individual teams and their individual players, but they are supporting a system that works. And without their support, it wouldn't work as well. So I have to commend them and thank them as well for the part they have played.
Thank you very much, sir. I can just imagine. I'm looking in the chat and we have a number of persons there. But no question coming up so far. But I just want to big up a few people who I've seen in the chat, So Gregory Messam, big up yourself, man. Ronald Ray, Bridget Gibbs, Lee, the man who keep up our toes, man. That man a part of my team right now. All right. So we say Gibbs coming out of Bahamas. He's a Jamaican, a former adrenaline player and student too. Wayne Ashley, big up yourself, Wayne. I mean, big up to all of the viewers. And I will touch base with some of you. Again, I've seen more people in the chat, but guess what? You're not hitting the like button, people. And I know you're enjoying.
I know. It appears as if there's an adrenaline connection to the program. I want to big up adrenaline too, because
thanks, man.
Coming out of the pandemic, the adrenaline football seems to have resurrected, and Coach Taffy, I think Coach Taffy is doing a really, really good work. Very decent guy. Apart from his coaching ability, I think he's somebody who's good for the youngsters in terms of his attitude and how he relates to people. And I think if he gets the support, I am sure that adrenaline will return to the 92, the Newman and the Mester.
Yeah, man. Yeah, from the early 90s coming up, yes. 90s, right? Yes, we were a shock. And yeah, man, big up Coach Taffy. I mean, he have won adrenaline the first silverware. And now we're not getting there yet, man, because, narrowly missed out. I like how you put it still, I like the question, who you beat. That was a game, And he has narrowly missed out, at the finals this year. So kudos to Coach Taffy, man. Big up yourself. Errol, of course, man. We know you have to join, Errol, and you have to participate. Errol Stewart there. Yes, I'll tell you about the adrenaline connection. Yes, because it's PIBA. We have a past student group for adrenaline, Past Adrenaline Ballers Association. So we call ourselves PIBA, This group also, I think, was formed, in the pandemic when a lot of us find not doing much, staying at home, working from home, and making some real connection. And this is where it is. So I can tell you the past Adrenaline Ballers Association, they have been making things even easier and better for Adrenaline as it relates to sponsorship and, put in a little monetary funding where that is concerned. Because, I know your states think big, you're large down as states when they come on to support, So, which all right, listen, I'm not going to say it because I have a virgin, on this same platform, right? And I will soon start to leave out the big thing. But your thing is large. Let me use large. And and we want to reach, at least somewhere where we can really say, yes, people are pushing enough and Taffy and Adrenaline will make it through. So people, again, hit the like button and let us continue. So yes, sir, ISSA, 2021, 2022, my observation, what I have seen, not directly involved, but I've seen where a sort of inclusiveness as it relates, especially really communication levels to the coaches. I've seen where you had, I don't want to make everything look bright for you, Mr. Wellington, but I still have to give you a thumbs up. The fact is that when I look at it, I have a coaches WhatsApp group, maybe because of the rise of technology, or maybe because of you as an administrator put that across. And I remember back in the days when I used to coach, sometimes the information reaches school, and maybe 2 or 3 days after, it reaches, like me as a coach. So kudos to that, and I believe, the coaches were speaking aloud to that. So I want to big up you for that aspect of it. Inclusiveness this year, I can surely, I said it because I had a discussion and a chat recently on this same program where I my unfortunate time as a coach, I was actually given a 2-year ban by ISSA some time ago. And I know that if you were running things, I wouldn't get that ban, but that's how life goes. You would have listened. But I heard of that ban on the media. That's where I heard that I was banned on the media. So that's the sort of thing that happened. So this year, that sort of thing. I've seen many other things that we could talk about, but that's not what we're here for tonight. So big up to that one as well. I still have to say big up because them big up Piba. Big up Piba. Big up Piba.
The people around, so it could not be. I know maybe I'm the face of ISSA, but we are actually an organization, meaning that there are many parts that make us work. For football this year,
right.
The last 2 years, we have had a coordinator, Mr. Johan Scott, who again is somebody who understands the sport and is very, in terms of communication, he's able to communicate well, and he's an IT person again too. So it makes it a lot easier. He has done an exceptionally good job in terms of data management. Well, not just in terms of data management, but because you are mentioning that. And we figure that the more people know, the less questions they need to ask.
You see, one of the things, you mentioned Johan Scott, and it's unfortunate that I have to introduce you to the Saudichress show because I had him on set one night, I thought you'd have reached out to you and said, listen, my boss, there's a Saudichress show out there that you need to get yourself on. And so he was unable to answer some questions. So we're happy that you are here tonight. So again, in the chat, just coming from Wayne Ashley, big up Piba, you are doing a great job. All right, good. Greetings to Saudi and the Piba squad. Big up the president in the residence. You hear that, sir? Yeah. Coming from RR. Gregory Messam, give a thanks, Sir Wellington. Blessings in abundance. That's coming from Gregory Messam. I know you soon call Messam. We're waiting, right? R. Hannah, maximum respect to your show, Mr. Sadi. Bless up yourself, my boss. All right, sir. So, my touchy point that I want to look at. Over the years, we have seen ISSA, what did I say now? Implement different rules as it relates to eligibility for our players. This is one thing that I would love for you to explain so our viewers could probably get a clearer understanding. I try myself, I don't know all the answers, but as it relates to the transfer rules and the issue of, is it 3 3 transfer player or three quota players. Is it per season or throughout the life of those players?
All right. So since as you mentioned rules, just before I answer that question specifically, let me just share something.
No problem.
With you where rules are concerned, right?
Yes.
So for ISSA, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we have 170 odd principles, right?
Yes, sir.
And every rule that we have, every rule that is on the books at ISSA must be brought to so the executive may or it may come from the floor where a suggestion regarding a rule or a rule change is brought to a general meeting. But every rule that we have at ISSA must be written and must be passed by at least 75%, well, by the majority of principals present at a general meeting, right? And we have to give a year notice for that rule to come into play, unless at least 75% of the principals decide that it must come in with immediate effect. Right? So just putting that out there. So when we have these rules, it is not a president rule or a competition chairman rule. It is the principal's rule, right?
All right.
And as we know, ISSA is a principals association, so it is made up of all high school principals, with each principal having one vote, whether you're a big school with 3,000 students or a small school with 300 students. All right. So as it relates to this particular rule, the question you asked was if the quota system applies to a student for the entire duration of their tenure at school,
right,
or for a season. So what the rule actually says is that no school team is allowed to have more than X number of transferred students, meaning students who have represented another ISSA member school in the sport during a particular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for football, if we're sticking, because this seems to be focused on football. For football, it means that whichever team you put out for a particular ISSA competition, whether under 14, under 16, or under 19,
yes,
that team cannot have more than 3 players who would have played for another ISSA member school, unless the player having played for another school, that school is not participating in the competition. Right, so you can have more than 3 players on your team who played for another school, but only 3 of them can be playing if their school is currently playing in the competition.
Okay, so let me see if I can have this clear. So, Mr. Wellington, Wittick, and Mesa. So we are playing for states, and we used to attend Edwin for argument's sake.
Yes.
If Mesa played for 2 years and has left, once he leave that institution, leave states, then states will be able to afford another transfer player.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Or if the three of us came from Edwin Allen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And played, and no one wants to play for states. But Edwin Allen decided that they're not playing football, right? Then
yes,
states can go and get another 3 players as well from somewhere else. So states could end up with 6 players somewhere else. But if Edwin Allen decides to play, then only 3 of them can play.
And if Edwin Allen returned the following year, how would that go?
Once you left Edwin Allen when Edwin Allen was playing,
yes,
and you can't play. You played for Edwin Allen, and you left Edwin Allen when Edwin Allen still playing. Then when Edwin Allen come back, you're part of the quota.
I tell you, I said that, sir, because I was actually close to an athlete, a student athlete, who ended up coming from school B, and he was at school A. Unfortunately, his school returned to the competition, and so he ended up with the bitter end of the stick, because he becomes a part of the quota, and the coaches now have to make a decision. But with that though, do you think it's a bit harsh on that particular athlete or student?
Alright, so I don't know if I'm allowed to give a personal opinion in my capacity.
You can, man. Of course you can.
So, you can give me permission. I don't know if my colleagues will give me permission. But just to say that
yes,
we understand, and that is one of the reasons why it's important that we communicate the rules with everybody so that they understand the decision they make, especially because what we know for a fact is that there are scouts, there are recruiters who will recruit players or student athletes without sharing with them the details and the negative repercussions that may occur. And so I think it's important that we communicate as much as possible with the public so that they understand the rules, and if somebody has to make a choice, they will understand the pros and cons that come with those choices. So whether or not the rule is fair, it is what it is, and we will have to work with it.
All right. I don't have a problem with the rules. I just sorry for kids, who suffer in that light, so to speak. But
Yeah.
that's how it is, and we are learning. I'm sure that we are learning. Let me take a few from the chat. Whoopi Brown, Sir Wellington, why when Edwin Allen and Stets playing, it never be at a neutral ground, always at Stets?
Well, I'm not sure if it's always. I know we have played Edwin Allen how many times. I think we have only played Edwin Allen twice in recent times in terms of
Okay.
the Costa Cup. The last time I remember was playing Edwin Allen before these last two times. It was actually played at Porus Community Center, so I know that it was neutral.
Okay.
In the last two times we played them, it just so happened that the games were scheduled. I think it was the finals of the Ben Francis last year, and this year did we play them? Did we play them this year?
Yes, man.
we
You played in the is it quad?
Ben Francis no, in the
No,
Dakar
man.
Cup.
You played in the Dakar Cup at Stets.
Right, this year, right, and so I just think it's advantage. It's the same thing almost with beer. Every time it seems that every single time we play beer,
Is that Stets?
it end up at States. And I mean not just in football, but in cricket as well. Right? Very rarely we play beer away. But I guess it's just the luck of the draw. There are teams that States play, and we have to travel all the while. We have to go to St. Thomas. We just seem to have to go to St. Thomas all the while and Portland all the while. But in terms of neutral venues and home and away games, that's another topical issue that comes up from time to time at ISSA. But just to say that for us at ISSA, we try. If you understand the schedule, you will know that you are going to have to travel away on X time or Y time. And the good thing about it is that almost every single time, the schedule is set from August. So if I know sometimes people blame other persons, including blaming me as the president, to say that I unduly influence.
I heard that too, man. I heard that say you are the man who set the fixtures.
Yeah, man. And the truth is, I don't do fixtures at ISSA.
Okay.
Right? But we do the fixtures, and especially for football. If you take up the football fixtures in August, when it is published, right? You can do all your permutations and know where you're likely to play if X happens or if Y happens but I don't think a lot we are that analytical. The public isn't generally that analytical, and even some of the coaches are not that analytical. So sometimes when the games turn up and the schedule turn up, they are surprised, but they shouldn't be because the fixture is there. And even though we may end up playing Edwin Allen, or one school may end up playing the other at a party, the permutation is there to say that if this never happened, then it would be that school who would be traveling instead, and so on. And you know that we don't control the results.
True.
The results actually come on the field, and it is the results that determine where games are played.
So that is so true. And Buppy, for that question, I wouldn't mind play States at States every year, as a Edwin Allen fan.
Don't seem to be able to beat you.
No, not at all. They hung on for a point the last time, and you know what? The result was in the Ben Francis final, so we won't go down that route.
So the truth is, and that's another thing, we have to appreciate with sport. In Jamaica, there are very few venues that you can truly classify as presenting an advantage to
a team,
to one team or the other. Except in where the venues, like for example, at States, you're getting basically a neutral surface to play on, because if you can't play football, you can't complain about playing at States, because you're going to get a true surface to play on. Yes, maybe you get a crowd that is against you, which is. But if you go to Giant Park against it, you're gonna have a crowd against it too. Right? That if you play that at Portland, you're gonna find more state supporters there too.
So you
For
think
most schools that
if the game is scheduled for Edwin Allen, down at Edwin Allen, the state
yes.
supporter will be, our crowd will be bigger.
No, I wouldn't think so. But states will come and play.
Okay.
And states will not complain. I can tell you that. You will not hear states complaining about playing anywhere at all. And maybe that's why we get so much flack, because when we I remember 1 year, Whitty,
Yes,
we
sir.
states played in Kingston, the Saturday, and went to Buff Bay the Wednesday, and Jared Park the next Saturday.
Mr. Wellington.
And that's-
Sir Wellington, I don't know, but I've seen you getting scrambled. Your screen is scrambled. I'm not seeing you. Yes, all scrambled. So,
Well, I'm seeing you good and I'm not having any difficulty hearing you.
yeah, but
Are you hearing me?
yeah, man, loud and clear. It's just that your screen is scrambled. We are unable to see you. Just all. Can you see yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm seeing myself well. I'm seeing you
Okay.
well as well.
Well, it seems like we have a little issue there. Still have excellent connection on my side.
Turn off the camera now.
Okay.
Are you still hearing me, right?
Yeah, man,
Just
still
turn it
hearing
back
you.
on.
Okay, very good.
Turn
You
it
are
back on.
clear. You are 100. Trust me. Well done. You are the IT person. I have to get some help from you. Set up the Saudichress channel grow. Yes. So so you think that
So the ISSA, we are always going to have challenges with venues, and it's one of the things that at ISSA that I would love to see eventually happen, where right across the country at least one real good venue in each parish, so that we don't have to play all our games in particular locations because we're trying to maximize gate receipts, or because we can't find a suitable venue somewhere else. But as I said, I'm somebody who does statistics,
yes.
and I can tell you that in terms of whether or not states get more home games, the only reason why we get more home games than most persons is because we actually play more games than most persons. But when you look at the balance in terms of the teams that go through, if for example you talk about Manchester High or Dintil or who plays their games at home, we get the same amount of games. When Frome used to play at Frome, similar thing as well.
And
It's just that, I said, when you continue to win, it's going to look like you're getting more games at home because you're continuing to win.
True. And I must say though, your facilities, the facilities at States really is a good one. So I approve that. I like the surface itself is good. And even with the little stand that you have, which last year was really a dramatic one, could hardly hold me behind those fence. But yeah, man, the States ground is really good, people. I can tell you, if you have not been there for a while, and even if you're watching on TV, you realize that the surface is relatively good. Probably one of the best of that side of the island right now. And I don't know, maybe Mr. Wellington will tell us one of the best in the country. But we have another one here, sir. What about academic reasons to sixth form? So he's asking, what about the academic reasons to sixth form?
Well, the rules
yes.
sixth form is that if you change school,
Mm-hmm.
right, so if you stay in your school, right?
Yes.
If you're at Edinalina and you finish fifth form, ISSA doesn't have any requirement for you to move from fifth form to whether you want to call it grade 12 or lower 6. Once you stay in your school, then it's the normal requirement of 4 subjects at 45 that you require, right?
Okay.
But if you're trying to leave one school to another, is either you're going to have to sit out the year like the person who's moving from third form at one school to fourth form another. You have to sit out if you're leaving fifth form to go to another school, right? But you have to sit out unless you have 4 subjects which allow you to play right away as a sixth
former.
And those 4 subjects can be 4 subjects at CXC, at City and Guilds, or at NC Tibet.
Okay. All right. So you hear that, people? No, people, we have gone over 30 views since we have started. Some people going and come, and we only have 6 likes, people. Come on, man. Don't just sit there. Hit the like button. We need you to hit the like button. All right. Another one coming up, sir. Well, RR, 4 players from Mapen can't afford to do 6 form at Frankfield, but Glenmuir closer. Do they get a pass? So they are saying if 4 students from Mapen, they can't afford to go to Edwin, can they get a pass to 6 form at Glenmuir?
I think that question is really two things the person wants to ask. I'm assuming, and I'm going to assume and answer the two things that
Yes.
he wants to ask, right?
Mhm.
So if it's 4 players from Edwin who play for Edwin,
Yes.
right, and wants to go to 6 form at Glenmuir, and the quota says only 3, if they get a pass, no.
Because and he said that
the 4 players who can't afford to go to Edwin because Edwin is far and they have them subjects.
Yes.
2 can go to Glenmuir, 2 can go to Central, or if one want to go, which others Denby, right? So it's not that they can't move; they can all move, but all of them
Can't go to one place. All right.
The other part of the question that the person may want to ask is if the 4 players can afford to go to Edwin and don't pass them subjects, if they can go to Glenmuir. The answer is no. Right?
Okay.
If they pass them subjects, if they pass the subject, they can go to
They can
Glenmuir,
go.
or 3 of them can go to Glenmuir and play right away if there are no other players at Glenmuir, quota players. But if they don't pass the subject and Dr. Smalling is kind enough, she can still take them and allow them to sit in class and pass some subjects, but they can't play that.
They can go to the school, but they just can't play.
School,
All right. Well done. Well done. Boy, I don't know why this question coming up so early, but I can't help it. I have to ask. Boopy Brown again. Sir Wellington, the All Dacosta Cup selection. Who select the players?
Alright, so for both the All Manning and the All Dacosta,
Yes.
we had the 4 coaches from the semi-finals. So the 4 Manning Cup coaches selecting the Manning Cup team.
Yes.
And the 4 Dacosta Cup semi-finalists selecting the Manning Cup team. And we also had input from Sportswax.
Okay. So you hear that, people? 4 semi-finalists. Those coaches who their team reached the semi-final in the Manning Cup, they have selected the Manning Cup players, and the Dacosta Cup semi-final selected the Dacosta Cup. All right. So, and as you mentioned that, Mr. Wellington, how should I put this one? When the decision came up to play all Dacosta Cup, all Manning.
When did it come?
Yes.
Alright, so we have always toyed with the idea that we want to see the All Manning, All Dacosta return, right? That
Yes.
is something, especially from my perspective as a principal, as a president. I want to see the All Dacosta, All Manning come back as a part of the schoolboy football calendar. The opportunity has come this year because we had put aside this weekend coming, for a tournament with the 2 top teams from Trinidad,
Yes.
and the 2 top teams from Jamaica. So in our case, it would have been Clarendon College and Jamaica College representing Jamaica, and St. Benedict's, and I don't remember the name of the other school from Trinidad. So we had this weekend put aside. We had rented the stadium, paid for, booked the stadium and everything. And then now that arrangement fell through because the Trinidadians were unable to field their full team for the games. So having booked the stadium and all of that,
Okay.
and we now have this opportunity for the playing of the game, but to do something.
To do something.
We have
Okay.
taken that opportunity to have the All Manning, All Dacosta. But I can tell you that it will be a part of the calendar each year going forward. This is something that we really want to do. What we want to actually do, we never had the time to do it this year, but I can say to you now, and maybe saying it publicly for the first time, that what we intend to do going forward is to actually have two games, 2 All-Stars games. So one, your best players from the Manning Cup versus your best players from the Dacosta Cup, and then another game where your best players from the Dacosta Cup who have a certain minimum academic standard. So for that game, we may say that, boy, you have to have at least 6 CXC subjects and maybe CAPES, and you're a good player. So you can't be just subject alone. The best players with let us say 5 or 6 CXC subjects, right? From Manning Cup versus the best players from Dakasta Cup with 5 or 6 subjects. But what we want to do is to use those games to highlight our players who are ready for college, who
Okay.
can get scholarship, right? Because sometimes your best players may not necessarily be interested in college because they want to go pro,
Yes.
or they may not yet have the matriculation because your best player in the All Manning or All Dakasta maybe a fourth farmer,
Yeah.
or maybe a lower sixth farmer who's not ready, or a fifth farmer who's not ready. But we want to make sure that we're providing the opportunity for these kids. So what we're looking forward to, it's a model that we use in 2015.
Okay.
We had states had organized something like that, and I think it worked well. Where we call it the All Scholastic 11, Manning 11 versus All Scholastic
That can
Dakasta
stack
11.
up 11.
We also right. So that is the model that we're going to be promoting going forward.
I'm really looking forward to that because, even on this show, many callers have been asking what happened to the All Dakasta Cup All Manning competition. And so we are happy to see it back. And plus, next year, we will get Brata, not just All Dakasta, but All Star. Those persons who are academically, high, want to show the, above that minimum 4 CXCs. Because we understand. And we are paving the path for these young athletes to move on to higher levels. All right, again, yes, Terry, Mr. Gibbs, he's saying that I think the sixth form rules are reasonable. That's so true. All right, R is giving a lot of emoji here, Sir Wellington. I guess he has a first question that he said, or a comment rather, saying states versus any other school. Jared Park, GC Foster, or Jacksal. So he's saying that state should play. Go Jared Park, GC Foster, or Jacksal. Yes, I understand where you're coming from. But though, if you look at it, especially, I can speak for Edwin Allen. Right now, what I have seen over the past 2 years, I don't mind playing at States. States can't beat Edwin Allen at
But
States.
if he says that, he would suggest that Glenmere must do the same thing, Garvey must do the same thing, Fogar Road must do the same thing, Dintil must do the same thing, Manchester High must do the same. All these schools that play at the venue that is their home game.
Right.
Then it would mean. So essentially, it can't be that you pick out States to say that. You
True.
would have to say that no school should play
Should host.
at their home venue.
Okay.
And I can tell you that it is unlikely to happen. It is unlikely to happen. I think and I'm going to tell you why it's unlikely to happen. But before I tell you, my suggestion is that we should invest a lot more in our venues, in our school fields, in our venues, and a lot of money is spent on a number of things around sports.
Okay.
And we don't spend it on infrastructure, which is critical to development.
Yes.
And so I would encourage every single school, every person involved in sport, every sponsor of a school team, that part of what you need to do is to invest in infrastructure. When you pay a coach $250,000 or $300,000 a month for 6 or 8 months and the coach don't deliver, that money is almost wasted. When you spend that money on your physical facility, it is a generation that you are providing for.
Yes.
So that I would say that is a better investment. But I also want to say from an ISSA perspective, it is unlikely to happen that we are going to have more games moving away from our schools, because the model that we are promoting and pushing is for schools. It's the games, not just football, cricket, students, and we don't believe that we should have our competitions being taken away from our student body.
Yes.
And so we are encouraging all our competitions and all our schools to put themselves in a position where they can host the games, where their student population can be entertained, because the competition is for the sport, right? The competition is for the students.
For the students.
Our sponsors, when we go to sponsors, right? Sponsors, yes, they want to hear that good quality football is playing, but they also want to know how many eyes are watching. Because we don't get money, the money we get from sponsors, these are monies that are spent for marketing. It's not giveaway money sponsors.
True.
Sponsor comes and it's their marketing dollar. So when we go to a marketing executive and say, boy, give us $10 million for schoolboy football, it is $10 million that they are taking out of the budget that they have to increase the bottom line of their company. So we have to say to them that, listen, you are going to be able to have access to X amount of people.
Yes, sir. All right. We have a call online, Sir Wellington. Mr. Lee, you're back live, man. How are you? What say you?
Yeah, man, I'm here to talk to the boss, you know. Big up yourself, Mr. Wellington.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man, it's nice to have a guy like a man like on the show tonight, you know. So, Mr. Wellington, at the beginning of the show, thing about you watching a game and you thought the game was your States came back and scored 2 goals against, and then you say you slide on the field, something like that.
Yes.
You were telling us about that little folly thing, right? When the show at the beginning of the show, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So someone asked you this question: do you ever find yourself at that time I watch a game and I catch a fever and kick out somebody standing beside you?
No, I'm not to that stage yet.
You never get to that. Cause you sound like you love football like myself, and I'm sure that happened. I wish find out it happened to you too, you know?
No. I'm kicked anybody, I haven't harassed anybody or physically
You Wellington. Cause you sound like one of the fever on the sideline when I watch a game, you know, Mr. Wellington.
Yeah, man. And I'm a fan too, you know. I'm not hiding it. I am a fan, and I'm a big fan too. So when I am listening. Even with club football, when Liverpool lose, you know, I don't read no international papers for a few days now.
Yeah. I will do football.
Where you serious, man?
You sound like you love the football. So, Mr. Wellington, I have a question I know, Mr. Wellington.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
Mr. Wellington.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my boss. I have a question about the rules that you stated earlier. Me really not sure like it still, but me know rules is the rules. One that you said, if a student leaving, say for example, a student leaving Edinallen,
Yes.
and a student go to say for whatever school, Garvey or States, and Edinallen didn't pass the plate in the competition that year, so those two are one player not gonna count on the court of 3 players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry.
You hear that, Sir Wellington?
No, I crack up. I hear
You crack up a bit, dear Lee. Go again. Ask again, please. Repeat.
Yeah, man. Yes, if I play Edinallen, I go back to the rules that he mentioned earlier, because that's the one problem with. We are player leaving from one school going to another school, and the school that they are leaving from didn't play D Cup, right? So that for that year, that particular person not gonna get penalized for leaving the school, right, Mr. Wellington?
Well, right now,
What?
the rule still penalizes them. So if they leave, let us say they played for Edinallen in 2022, right? And they leave to come to States for 2023, then they are a quota player. But let us say, how do I put it now? Right, if they left 2022, they played 2021 for Edinallen. Edinallen did not play 2022, right? And so they left and come to States, right? Right now, this rule still have them as a quota player if Edinallen is playing 2023. We are reviewing the rules, and I promise that there will be some slight adjustments, but we have not yet discussed it with the general principal body. But there are going to be some slight adjustments.
I hope so, Mr. Wellington. I hope so, because I'm not fair to the student, you know. And let me ask you another question, Mr. Wellington.
That is not played.
Mr. Wellington.
Yes, sir.
So if Edinallen didn't play 22, right? And they didn't play 2024, are that guy gonna guys?
Alright, so as we say, we review the rules. So give a few weeks or a few months, and you will hear what adjustment has been made. If adjustment, but
Okay, sir.
let me tell you, the rule, in terms of the rules, some of the things that have come up for discussion based on what has transpired, this one is one of the major one where a player leaves a school that is not playing. The school don't play for 2 years, and
Right.
the third year the school come back and the player is now affected because the school come back. So that has come up for discussion. We also have
Yeah,
a
man.
situation where a player plays, for example, in first form or second form and doesn't play again for the school for the next 3 or 4 years, right? And then goes to another school and the player is a quota player. That has come up for discussion as well. Obviously, the issue of the foreign-based players, that has come up for discussion as well. What else? Those are some of the popular things that we have looked at and are reviewing.
Yeah, man, and I hope you guys do vote and make some changes as far as that. You know, I don't think it's fair on the players to get penalized just because the school decided to play and they already play for your school and now they're gonna get penalized because school didn't play. No, I don't think that's right, Mr. Wellington. And I hope you guys vote and change that. Now, Mr. Wellington, the next question I'm gonna ask, and I've been asking this question for a while. Why the winner of the Ben Francis don't play the winner of the World? Is there a reason why that don't happen?
I don't think there's any particular reason why it hasn't happened. No, there's no real reason other than we have not done it before.
So you think it is something you into?
It's something, I think you're not the first person I hear ask that question. It is an option that I think can be looked at.
My boss. All right, man. And again, you know, I'm glad to have you on the show, and it's a pleasure. So, Wellington, you have a good night. I'm gonna get off now.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Thank you, Sir Lee. Very good input. Very good input as usual. The man they call Lee. And Mr. Wellington, for your information, this is not a adrenaline manure, sir.
All right.
All right, a few more coming out of the chat. Some people are not me hard here, Mr. Wellington. Well, Gibbs want to ask a follow question here. To RD Cup and Manning Cup, was there a pool of players selected or all players who participated in the D Cup and Manning Cup were considered?
All right, so all well, as I think I outlined earlier, who were the persons who selected
Right.
the team. And for me, I actually said to the panel when we were discussing that, you remember, you know, Oliver Shield has already been played between JC and CC. So this is not an Oliver Shield rematch. It is Al Manning versus Al Nakasta. So you are the 22 best players irrespective of where they're coming from. So everybody should have been considered.
I have a question to you right there, but or maybe a comment. Let me take this other one. Gregory Messam is saying, Frontsman, you're here. See why celebrity coach should hit central where it hurts? So that's a clash up between adrenaline and a central thing there, sir. All right, Messam, should have. All right, thank you. RR, condition of Monroe Field. What's the condition of Monroe Field? Somebody's asking that.
Poor, terrible.
Wow.
Really bad.
Okay, all right. So if you're a Monroe fan, Monroe old boy, you need to get down and help there.
When we were at Monroe had one of the best field in the country, you know. Really good field when we were there. But that's deterrent. I know they have tried to do some work, but one of the challenge I think they have is the lack of water, access to easy
Okay,
access
to water.
It's really not in a good condition.
Okay, all right. Gregory Messam again. Well, Sir Wellington, thanks for the update on young schoolboys, all stars. All right, good. Gibbs again. Is there any rule or rules in place for students coming from overseas? He just made mention of that. But let me just take the other one, and then if you want to comment, you can.
Anyway, let me just answer that question directly too. There are actually rules, you know, there are actually rules governing students coming from abroad. What we don't currently have is a quota on them, but there are rules in terms of how they are eligible, in terms of academics and age. So if you're if a player comes from abroad And the
Yes.
player is already over 16, the player has to sit out a year unless they
Okay.
have subjects to go to sixth form.
Oh.
That's one of the basic rules regarding players from overseas.
So if they are 15-year-olds, they can play straight ahead,
You can play
right away.
right? And there are right now there isn't any restriction in terms of quota.
So we
But
can.
we are
So one team can pose 11 players.
from abroad, right? But we are reviewing.
Listen, people, no need to get some overseas player if you don't want to big up on the team, you know. Mr.
We are
Wellington and all that. All right, them rules seems like a punishment, or is it quality control?
The quota,
Yes. I probably yes, the quota, yes.
I think for us, one of the things that we have tried to do, and I don't think people mind us saying it, even JC themselves, I don't think they mind us saying it. One of the things we notice, right, is that
Yes.
a school has, we have had schools that don't even enter under 14 or under 16, but they have a team competing at Dakasta Cup level or Manning Cup level. I mean, competing as in actually trying to win.
Whoa.
Right? But yet, so they're not building from bottom up, and they have students in the school. We have the other issue that we have, right, is that we have schools where when you look at the team, it is chock full of 18-year-olds who just came to the school, right? And I don't think anybody can guess why they came to. Anybody has to guess why they came to the school. So you will have a school team where you have 7, 8, 9 students from all over the country, different schools, just coming to the school playing right away. Right, and next year those that set gone and another set coming. Remember, we're not doing club football, you know. And part of our mandate is to provide the opportunities for all of our students. So I go to a match, for example, right, and I'm in the crowd with students from the school, and the students don't know the students representing them. Right? We go to a school trying to promote a finals or a semi-finals, right? And the team is introduced to the school, and the school is lukewarm because we never go to school with them, man.
No, is that in the past or you mean recently, sir?
But in the current environment, meaning 3-4 years in now, the period that we are in, that is what we're trying to manage.
Wow.
One day I know that when you were in school and your biggest fans were in persons who you are in class,
Yes,
class,
man. Most definitely.
or the community that you come from. Right? So we can't grow the product at ISSA if we have a states team playing and nobody's coming to states because the players, nobody in the community know the players. The classmates, them when match time come, them gone home because the person who playing is not somebody them in class with from first form or second form. We have to think about those things. And it's not like one time when 20, 30 years ago when everybody needed to watch football to get some entertainment. You don't have to go to a football match or a cricket match or anywhere at all for entertainment. You can stay right up home now and entertain yourself. Or you have so many other options. So we have to look at the product that we have and how do we protect it.
That is true, you know, sir. And I must confess right now, on a show prior to this, there was a person who asked me about and said that back in the days when, you know, them go school and players are play, them no know. And I said, right now, I don't think so. Not in this climate. Because I don't really believe, you know, right now you said it and it's a surprise to me that in recent time, you'd have that sort of situation. But as you mentioned, you're not running a club, sir, and I know you must hear the talk and so on. You know, when people talk about certain school FC, I don't want to call any name and get myself in any trouble, you know, or get you in any trouble. But certain school FCs, you know, BFC, AFC, and all of that. But when you look at it though, sir, and, you know, the recruiting aspect of it, when you see school can get players from overseas, having 3-4 overseas players, that looks more like a club to me.
7-8. Of course.
You said 7-8, sir?
Yeah, man.
Why I couldn't get a better person on the show than you tonight? I am learning. But, you know, that's the reality of it, though. And, you know, I really would like for you to, you know, are open to us as soon as those rules are reviewed. So we better understand how the overseas play. Because one of the things about it, I don't have a big problem with them. Why? Because I believe they are coming from CARICOM. They are part of the CARICOM thing. And, you know, one of the agreements is that you could work or study. So. But I've also heard that after the competition, or say January, most of these boys gone back home.
I've heard that too. I've
That
heard that too.
that no look
And
good.
that is something we are saying that if you're giving them an opportunity, if if you take somebody from somewhere else to come just to play football, let them play for Cavalier or Harborview or something.
You
Don't let the
continue.
school system and it's only to play. Right? So,
I tell you, R. Sir, I know you're running for time, but at least give it 12 minutes and we're out of here. R said JCFC thing turn up. And he goes to say poor people school can't win. I agree with you, poor people school can't win the cup or Manning Cup no more, boss. Big money thing. I mean, Mr. Wellington, not like you, say big thing, but I reality.
no, but
It's a reality.
and the truth is, it's difficult. We have, right. So obviously, when them say Jack can say world level,
Mm-hmm.
and that will always remain. So you're always going to have schools that have significant advantages over others, right? But as best as possible, we have to protect each member school and ensure that there's integrity. Because at the end of the day, I use states as an example, right? We keep winning cricket until I don't even know if anybody at states sure how many cricket titles we have won, right? But
Right.
that doesn't necessarily make it good for Jamaica's cricket. And if every time you enter a competition, you are planning to play for second or third, then there's no, it doesn't make sense. So I say to my people, I say that sometimes I wish we lose, because a lot of times you benefit more from losing than you actually do from winning to win. Right? So I think that as a body at ISSA, we do have a problem with a school dominating, especially if it is done fairly, right?
Right.
We do have a problem. But when you manufacture an advantage in the way some persons have done it, then we have to ensure that we address it. And sometimes it is not by breaking the rule, but it's just not something that we believe is ethically correct. Right? So you may not break a rule to do something, but is it ethically or acceptable? Right? And if it's not ethically acceptable, then we have to legislate against it.
There's something I wanted to say to you. I'm gonna say it now, but after I read 2 more chats, you can respond to it. Are you talking about now? You come to the realization that you'd love for more schools to win, or for not a one school going along. But as it relates to the DACAS, the Aldi and Allman in selection, and you don't have to respond right now. What we have seen with the selection, there are many out there, including our own coaches, fans, and so on, believe that the selection was a bit too biased, in the sense that having one school having too many players, the fact that over 100 schools playing Dakasta Cup and one school have 8 or 9 players, similar to JC, but I'll come to that afterward. You can respond to that. All right, so Mr. Wellington, good night. That is coming from Kevin Morrison, our own referee, Blacks. The man that's tall, Are again, but schools that have better development program, wouldn't it be fair? Wouldn't it be fair they learn the craft of soccer? Not so sure about the soccer thing. Exactly. And you're going to hear the response as well. Yes, Mr. Kevin, continue with the fantastic job as president of ISSA and your team. Again, Kevin Morrison. Standard was better before all these rules. That's RR. Not sure about that, but that's true. Gregory Mesam, Sir RR, there you go. Wrong. Where in Jamaica played soccer? I used to play football. North Americans alone played soccer. So you're right, Mr. Wellington, the man, and him accepts. I'm sorry about that. There you go, Mr. Boss. Sir Lee, continue asking these questions. That's coming again from Gregory Messam. All right. So, sir, what do you think now about that aspect of the selection? And we don't have to hide it. It's out there. Clarendon College in Dakasta Cup have boosted, I think, 8 or 9 players, in the squad for the Aldi. And I think JC pretty much the same.
All right. So there was something that was said in the chat that I wanted to comment on. I don't remember if it has, well, it may have been the comment about the rules changing the quality of the football.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, I think what you're going to find, though, what we are hoping that will happen with the rules, especially with the quota system, is that more coaches will focus on developing their talents, right? And we'll have a lot more of the senior coaches at the Doncaster Cup level paying attention to who their players are at under 14 and under 16 and trying to develop those players, because they know that in another 3 or 4 years they will have to depend on those players who are now 13 and 14-year-old. So in terms of the rules, that is one of the one of the spin-offs that we are expecting from the rules over the next I would say 3 to 5 years, where senior coaches, the people who are well paid by some of these schools, that they don't just come in and coach at the Doncaster Cup level, but they look at development. So that's one thing. We are also hoping that more schools will feel a lot more confident in investing in their youngsters, so that they can build a team and we will have a more competitive competition at a higher level, because players are growing and developing at their schools. As it relates to selection of the two squads, the All Manning and the All Lancaster, obviously for every time there's a selection, even your school team, I'm sure that Coach Taffy comes under a lot of pressure, because people figure that he's not selecting the best team, the best 11. So we know that. So
yes,
it's a given that there will be controversy, right? Again, if you look at how the teams were selected, I think the coaches, you had at least 4 coaches who had the opportunity to contribute. So to blame the JC coach alone or the Cardinal College coach alone would be unfair, because you had
other coaches,
3 other persons who had an input and who I think had a fair say in determining which players are selected. And then again, if we look at sports and we look at how coaches operate, we know that coaches always prefer to pick players they know, and they always prefer to pick players they know. But having said all of that, right, the objective of the All Manning and All Doncaster is to select the best 22 players that the competition showed this year. So if you had an excellent player last year,
yes,
you never play anything this year, he should not be considered, although we know that he's good, right? Or if you have a player this year who was on a winning team and in team win, but him never contribute, then he should not be considered.
What should be the best?
What we live and we learn and we grow from day to day, and I'm sure that this is something that over time we will be able to produce a team that persons are going to be less critical of. But at this stage, I think that the team that has been selected went through a process where multiple persons had the opportunity to contribute to its selection, and therefore, if it is not the correct team, then all of these persons must take responsibility or be held accountable for the team that is provided. And I can say publicly without fear of contradiction that I'm sure that there are a few players who deserve to be in the squad. Some maybe deserve, but they are not better than anybody this year.
True.
Therefore, they couldn't get in. But I'm sure that there are 1 or 2 players who probably had a better season than a few of the persons who are in this squad. But that is the way life is. It happens at all levels of the sport. And all we can do as administrators is to try and make sure that we have a mechanism in place that can give a higher level of efficiency in terms of the selection process.
True. So I have 2 questions, just 2 questions I have left for you. 2 questions. This one, a friend asked me to ask because he's unable to join the show tonight. The issue of the Ben Francis Cup and the selection of the teams are those who are eligible to play Ben Francis Cup. He believes that is a disadvantage to teams that are playing well and reaches, let's say, the semi-final. They have done all this work, they reach the semi-final, get knocked out, but not a chance to win any trophy, while others just reach the quarter-final and get an opportunity to win a trophy. Because we know that, the 4 teams go to the semi-final, we know one team will win, right? So he's saying that he thinks that's a disparity. He believes that, if a team wants to win a trophy, they should go, to the highest level in the competition. what say you? What is the main, or what is the main reason, so to speak? What is the likings for you to go for persons dropping out of the quarterfinal to play in the Ben Francis Cup competition?
All right, so let me just share how this change came about, right? It came about basically because we introduced the Champions Cup.
Okay.
Right? And by introducing the Champions Cup, we lost, or we had to give up 3 or 4 match days, right?
Yes.
So if you look at schoolboy football, we play schoolboy football. We start in the first full weekend in September, and we go down to as late as mid-December. I think in total we have maybe about 14 weeks. About 14 weeks of schoolboy football, and if you average 2 games per week, it means that you have about 28 days, 28 match days if you're playing 2 games per week.
Oh.
But you don't want to play 2 games per week when you get to the semi-finals and finals. So you don't want to play a semi-finals when they are finals Saturday.
That is true.
So at that stage, we spread out to 1 game per week when you get to the semi-finals, right? So essentially, what we were faced with, right, was a situation where teams were playing as much as 25 games in a season. 25 games. So then we just counted. So you had 10 first round games.
Right.
3 second round games. Well,
2 second round games.
2 second round, 3 quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals. That's 18 Cup games. Right, or 18 Manning Cup games. So just the Manning Cup or the Cup, we had 18 games. Right? And then you had 3 or 4 Champions Cup, 21 or 22. Then you had the Oliver Shield, that's 23. And if you add the Walker Cup or the Ben Francis Cup,
that's another 25. So you go right back to that long game.
So that was what we were faced with, and obviously we were being criticized as well because players were being asked to play too many games. So we had to make a choice, right?
Okay.
And the decision was saying that, all right, the best way out is that we would, the teams that played those number of games obviously would be the teams getting to semi-finals and finals, because if you're not getting to the semi-finals and finals, you're not going to play all that many games.
Well, that's true.
So when we looked at it, we said, all right, so how can we don't want to stop playing Ben Francis and Walker Cup, because these trophies were named in honor of outstanding ISSA.
Yes.
Members.
Stalwarts,
so
yeah.
You can't just throw away the trophy, because the other option would have been to disband the trophies and name one next trophy and play for it. But
True.
we couldn't do that because these trophies are, as I said, in honor of outstanding ISSA members. So we had to keep them on the calendar. So that is how we came up with the decision that, all right, since as the top teams are playing and already playing a knockout competition, which is the Champions Cup, let us get the other teams who don't play Champions Cup to play for the regional knockouts, so Walker Cup and Ben Francis. That is why we have it this way. If we go back to having the teams that are in the semi-finals playing the
Walker Cup and Ben Francis.
Adjustments elsewhere. Either we're going to have to cut down the first round games that they play,
okay,
or we're going to have to find some other way to cut down. Obviously, I don't think we can cut down in terms of the quarterfinals and semi-finals. So it would have to be the first round games that we would have to eliminate, or we cut down on the number of teams.
Are you split the zone?
Which one is one?
The big, because there are some zones that would have 10 teams, while others probably have 8. I think there's a one zone.
Games. What
10 games.
6 teams in each group. We have 6 games in each group, and they play home and away. So you could say, do away the home and away, and they play 5 games in the first round, and the top 2 qualify.
That's another ansness.
If you start slow, you're dead.
That's another ansness. It's like you're playing knockout in the group stage.
Yeah.
All right, before I come to the last question, I'll let me complete the chat here. So very nice comments coming up, sir. Zoning is the next issue. The new school should get assessment. Wow, are you Mark Hardy, man? All right.
That's a fair comment. I think that's a fair comment.
It is also fair.
The other day, I said it to the executive that we have to start looking at our culture because up to
Coming up.
20, 25 years ago, we probably had 60 or 70 member schools. Now we have 170. And when we keep adding, just adding and adding, at some point in time we're going to burst at the seams.
Hold on, Sir Wellington. You're saying you're not hearing Mr. Wellington again?
Yeah, we're not. No, we're not hearing him again. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh,
Say not hear you again, Sir Wellington.
I don't know. I've not done anything differently. Is he hearing me now?
I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you are hearing now, Sir Buppy. Oh Lord.
Somebody else can indicate if they're
Yes.
hearing. I've not done anything.
Let me call back Sir Lee. Because I don't know, we haven't done anything and nothing has changed on my side either. Right. So yes.
Sorry, something like audio again.
You're hearing? But other persons said that they are hearing.
Alright, so you come back on then.
Alright, thanks.
Okay.
You're good.
Alright, so thank you, Buppy, and thank you for that. Alright, so yes, you were saying about the assessment thing for new teams now, sir.
Right, I was saying the comment made by the person about new schools joining and us making an assessment. I think it's a valid point and something that we have to look at. If you look at the Doncaster Cup, as I said, 25, 30 years ago, you had maybe less than 50 schools participating.
Yes.
Definitely less than 60. Now we had 80 this year and not every school entered. So we can't just keep having the same format and keep adding schools to it. So it's a valid point and it's something that I think is going to eventually have to happen.
Okay, very good. All right, respect RR. All right, so we go again. Here we have yes. Love your honest response, Sir Wellington. That coming from Tariq Robinson Gibbs. Once again, love your honest response. And Mr. Lee Concord saying that, yeah man, me like him honest response. So boss, thumbs up. You got 90% so far. Show soon done. TK experience. Very good conversation so far. Development is definitely imperative. When time is invested in developing players, you will get their full potential as they know time is dedicated for them to do better. Alright, so that's TK experience. Is my own son coming from overseas that boss. Playing soccer. Respect Chris. Big up yourself. Alright, Mr. Morrison, give me 1 second before you go. Let me just finish the chat. Alright, Buppy, so everybody hearing now? Very good. So, boy, Kevin, and even when we finish my answer, Kevin Morris can't leave. Let you leave before him come on. You're alive, Kevin. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Kevin, you're live, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, good night to you. And your guest, Mr. Wellington.
Good night, good night.
I don't know if it's going to be a suggestion. Maybe Mr. Wellington I could say it to him without meeting a year, but it just come to me. What about putting the schools into tiers? Like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And teams will move down based on, I know it is not really a promotional company, but in the sense that you want to get quality to move up into the different tiers. So tier 2. So if you do well in the tier 3, you move up to tier 2. And if you do well in the tier 2, you move up into the tier 3. In that sense, you get a quality team playing among yourself. What do you think about that?
Alright, so that is something that has been noted before, and we have discussed it. The challenges that we foresee with it, right, is one, because we're talking about school teams, you don't necessarily you can't necessarily predict what a school team will be like, especially for at the very top. You know that these schools are always going to do well.
Right.
At the very bottom, you know that these schools are always going to struggle. Right? But for the most part, you don't know where a school is going to fall in the year. So we have a challenge with that in terms of switching the schools just based on performance. So maybe there are other measures. In the US, for example, a school is in Division 1 or Division 2, mainly based on resources available to the school, including school population. So a school with 1,500 students wouldn't be competing with a school with 300 students, right? Or a school that declares that they have a budget of $10 million wouldn't be participating with a school that declares that they have a budget of $1 million. So these are things that we have actually looked at and constantly discussed as to what the options are. There is the discussion about having a pre-season thing where schools are then now grouped based on the pre-season results. All of these are things that we actively discuss because, as I said earlier, we can't necessarily just continue with the same format and keep adding more and more schools to it. Another challenge that we have, and I think most people involved in sports in Jamaica would recognize, sponsors don't sponsor lower league things. Sponsors don't spend money on developmental programs.
True.
And so we have to be careful that we don't have these competitions where sponsors are not interested and whatever we get, because when you go to a sponsor and say, boy, it's 30 teams in the competition, it's a tier 1 Premier League competition with 30 teams. They are going to look and say, all right, so you can't get 20 million fighting or 10 you get. But then you have 70 schools participating down here, so how do you fund that? So all of these things are discussions that we have had and are having because we think that these issues are genuine issues that we have to find a way to address. It's just that we haven't found the ideal answer yet.
Sir Wellington, could you just switch off your camera and switch back on? We're getting at that. Yes, good. All right. Good to go. Yes, good to go. Good to go. All right. So, yes, Kevin. So you heard that.
Yeah. The explanation given is really acceptable. It's a lot of technicality in it, and yeah, thanks, Mr. Wellington.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, no problem.
All right, so that's good. That's good. All right, so Sir Wellington, my other question, what I want to get you out because I hear your sound and I don't want.
Your voice gone now.
No man, make me good at your voice sound away.
Mine gone.
Yes, and I don't want.
I'm not a classroom teacher anymore, so the voice not used to
Especially,
suspend. Just draw the pen now and suspend.
You know, if I make the parents in this group, I get nervous, you know. Sir, the national under 17 team now, they are in camp, meaning a lot of youngsters, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old out of school for this duration. As a body of principal, ISSA, what role do you play with the under 17 in assisting these students to get what they are missing out from classroom right now?
All right, so we don't have an official role in the process. Historically, from time to time, the JFF would have asked individual principals for assistance, and I must commend Coach Gordon, because
yes.
I know that he has made efforts. He has made efforts to ensure that the students who are in camp, that their academic responsibilities are addressed. He and I, we have spoken directly, and I've also had discussions with the JFF. I don't think that it has been fully sorted out yet, but
okay.
I know that the question has been asked, and the JFF, through Coach Gordon, is making an effort to ensure that these students don't get left behind while they are in camp.
So you haven't got any question or any concerns from your colleague principals in ISSA?
No.
Nothing.
No, I haven't. Remember, school would have just resumed today. School just started today.
Okay.
And, I think based on the squad, I think we have less than 20 local-based players in the squad. And I know one of the good things about COVID again is that it has opened our eyes as to
yes.
access to education.
Virtual learning.
Right. So I know that it is a little bit easier than it was 4 years ago.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. RR, JFF get some cheddar. ISSA should get some.
You like cheddar no reach out.
I forgot to do something for ISSA and it not reach them yet here, sir. Gregory, Sir Buppy call out celebrity coach there to reason with Sir Keith and stop have heartache about the choosing of all selection. Boss, I hear Coach Bridget Taffy them call celebrity coach, you know.
Celebrity
Yeah, man. So Mr. Massimo, if you call him out to come ask you some questions as relates to the All-Star selection, you know. But we get you we get you on him on a different show for that. So people, we're actually coming to the end of the show. As you know, we have Mr. Wellington has gone past his bedtime based on time agreed. But as we say, no, a lot of people come on this show, Sir Wellington, and say, and that's why I don't want that to split up, you know. I hope Mrs. Wellington actually watching the show in the other room. I'm almost sure that young Peter have.
Say that the good thing about is that she's a sports fan and she's
Exactly.
understanding.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Very good. Very good. So as I say, but Sir Wellington, you know, Saudichress, the YouTube channel. I'm young in the business. I have been covering a few of the Dakasta Cup games. More so where Edwin Allen played. But there are some games I was unable to cover, you know, stream because of TV rights and not too sure, but some grounds you got them say, boy, we can't show because Sportsmax have the rights. But when we went to the ground, there were no media, neither Sportsmax, neither TVJ, no CVM, maybe another YouTuber so from the stands and so on. What can we do? Because our fans overseas would like to see some of these games. Some of them can't get access to Sportsmax, and Sportsmax just bring a few of these games. Especially, I don't think this year's Sportsmax have covered enough Dakasta Cup games as though they covered the Manning Cup.
Well, I don't remember the breakdown. I know they covered a lot more. They covered more games than they have ever covered before in total.
Okay.
And I think we're probably, this is another discussion that we need to have. But just to say that in terms of coverage of the games, these media companies, and this we're talking about specifically Sportsmax now for schoolboy football, they pay a lot of money to have the rights to cover the games, right? So we have to respect their rights. And if they are the ones who have exclusive rights to coverage of the games, any entity who wants to cover the games can actually have discussion with Sportsmax about permission to cover these games. So they have the rights, but they can also unsell the rights, right?
Okay.
And you have to respect that. In terms of whether or not you'll be able to afford it, that's another scenario. But yes. I can tell you too that we have had a good relationship with Sportsmax. And while they have exclusive rights, we have also had a discussion similar along the lines you have mentioned, where it is not possible for them to cover. I would say they can't even cover 50% of the game.
Right.
And I said to them, we need to consider allowing coverage of games that you definitely will not cover, to allow for the promotion of the competition. So part of the discussion I've had with the CEO, and he seems to be willing, is that, listen, we can give permission for games like Edwin Allen, Thompson Town game, that's what not coming to. But Edwin Allen as a school can cover the game. We can give them permission. Probably what they would be looking from that is for you to send them the goals so that they can carry it on their program. So we are going to get there.
And that's a good one. That's a good partnership because we know, sir, they will not cover. It's very difficult for them to cover, and especially as you mentioned, some games in certain area, because you have some facilities that are not maybe the best where you want to bring that sort of media coverage and so on. The truck can reach.
The signal not
exactly.
So
good. So these are the conversations. And so in that discussion, sir, as of tonight, please remember the Saudichress YouTube channel. I'm not just a YouTuber, no. I'm also a very close associate of ISSA and schoolboy sports, boys and girls sports. To be honest with you, but you know, it's a reality. I really look out for, especially those in diaspora who want to see some of these games, you know, and they're unable to. Of course.
As I said, when Thompson Town, Edwin Allen, or Thompson Town, Kellets, if you're only going to do 50 games for the season, unless Thompson don't come up with a big team, or Kelly's come up with a big team.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
And that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it.
Discussion that we're having. So let's hope that we'll get to the point where most people will be satisfied.
All right, people, let me just get off your chat off this so Mr. Wellington can pack up, because I know that is the rest of night would be, well, it's still early, not too sure how him take, but it fast in bedtime based on discussion. So, Buppy, Mr. Morris, me have a corner league game for you for ref, you know, cause me always put you up in the Galaxy truck. Back for come refing training, so no pay. All right, Kevin, you hear that man saying why you come refing corner league, so please book your flight quick. You're large. JFF get development cash to schoolboy football is the only thing on now. That's what RR is saying. This man is really aware of what's happening, you know, Mr. Wellington. Professor Nutt's cousin, Mr. Wellington. Hold on.
Professor Nutt, no, it's not, I don't know him, but it's Wellington in here.
Oh. Come just sit down and draft you for your leave with something before you come out first show. All right, so we need back Mr. President soon. You hear that, sir? And they say they need it back soon, because as me say, these persons and myself, we are not just about football, and I'm sure that other sports are coming up that we want to get into. The cricket, the track and field is up on us as well. Netball has concluded. We're not getting much out of that, but they really would want some more, you know, to get a few. Blacks, big up. 101 from picking. All right. Final one. Mr. Green, Mr. Plummer, training gears to watch you on. The Tele FIFA ref, big up Blacks. All right. So you remember those men, sir? Mr. John Green, the Plumbers, you know, may their soul rest in peace. Those are iconic members, especially in Clarendon. You know, I've gone through their program. So, Mr. Wellington, I can't really express much thank you to you, but I'm very grateful, sir, for you to accept the invitation. And not just accepting, but you came on here tonight and you have delivered. I mean, many persons would have seen you having your conversations and interviews on television, but now they get a chance to interact with you. Very good, and thank you very much. But before you go, finally, whatever you have to say to close the show, sir, you have the talk. If you want to, you know, to highlight your team, or you want to say, you know, congratulations to just about anybody, any team where it is concerned. This is the Saudichress show.
Let me thank you very much for having me, and it was a pleasure being here. Good to interact with the fans. As I said at the outset, everybody have a role to play in the success of ISSA and what we are trying to do, and therefore it's important that we have these type of interactions, and you know, have information out there that people can have an appreciation for some of the decisions we make and for what is happening behind the scene. So thank you very much, and thanks to the persons for sharing their thoughts with us as well.
Yes, sir.
I think it was a very good 2 hours past by, but as you know, I had indicated that I would want to be through by 9 o'clock.
Yes.
So it was really time really went by. And again, you know, thanks for what you are doing. In the age that we are in now,
yes,
it's nice when people like you take time out, take the effort, made the effort to share with the general public. I know it's something that you love doing, so it don't seem like work, but I know
yes, that's true.
Doing something, it is a sacrifice. So
that is true.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll be back.
Yes, man, most definitely. Again, sir, maximum respect. Thank you very much, and go and enjoy the rest of the night. And I do apologize to keep you so long. Much respect. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Wellington. So you could go. So, yes, people, that was Mr. Keith Wellington. And you know that he was live here for those of you who have missed, or for those of you who just came in. But before you go, people, I've still seen a number of persons on the chat, much more than the amount of likes we are seeing. Just before you go, please hit the like button. Please. It's very, very important that you continue to hit the like button. So, people, it was a very good 1 hour and 49 minutes so far show, and I am sure that you enjoy the show. You have enjoyed the presence of Mr. Keith Wellington. He has delivered, and so a show, or should I say guests like these, a one night show is not so good because we can't go for 3 hours every single night with a guest, but we understand that. So of course we'll get him back. You could make your comments, and you realize how easy it is to have a conversation with the president of ISSA, one of the most decorated sports administrator for this year. No doubt about it. Because this year, and I probably could have said last calendar year, so to speak. And he continued to do a wonderful work with his team at ISSA. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we leave you tonight. Again, I want to say thank you to all of you for joining us. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Gregory Messam. Big up yourself. Yes, sir, RR, and Mr. Lee. Blessings always. So, people, as I say, we should have an education show this Wednesday, but based on certain things, I'm not sure we'll have a straight education, but on Wednesday, we'll have maybe a sort of it should be an education, but you will get sports out of it as well. We have another interesting guest coming up on Wednesday, and so we will be mostly looking at a education aspect of our lives. And so I encourage you, I invite you to join us for another episode of the Saudichress Show this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for staying up the course, and of course have yourself a blessed